Doing. Let's play the intro and get into it.
From the Black Swan Media Studios, deep inside a secret underground bunker, we're speaking to freedom-loving patriots from all around the country and the world. Welcome to the Resistance. This is John Crump, live.
All right. This is John Crump Live, and my name is John Crump. We are about to go live on my... Actually, are we live? We are live on my channel. We're going to be joined today by Flying Rich and Paul of Legally Armed America. And I'm going to play something right here. But before I do that, we are sponsored by JSD Supply. JSD Supply makes the MUP one, which is a SIG P320 based ghost gun, scary ghost gun. We are also brought to you by me, and that's it for basically. No, but JSD Supply, check them out. JSD Supply, you can use code CRUMP and get 10% off. And from that, let me go find my breaking news. Actually, I don't even have my breaking news load up. So, but just pretend like I have a breaking news thing going on. Okay, so we have Paul here, and right before I came on the show, and this is the reason why I haven't had a chance to make a video on this, and I want to get it out there before anybody else does. Stephen Stimbolier, the machine gun lawyer, GOA lawyer, great guy, just got a new leak that he just passed on to me from the everyone's favorite agency, second favorite agency, I should say, the FBI. And we're going to take a look at it. And we're not going to stay too long on my live channel. I just want to get this out there. But so the FBI, my goodness. Let me just go ahead. And this is on his Twitter he just put out. And let me see if I can blow this up. And his Twitter is Stambo2A. Stambo2A, if you want to download a copy yourself. YouTubers, sure Paul will. But Paul's the GOA guy. And I can't even get it. Damn it. I reloaded my whole entire damn computer. All right. So here is the new definitions of an extremist. Just came out. The FBI just sent this out. And I know you can't, just Stambo 2A if you can't read it.
Uh-oh.
These are the symbols. This shows you if you're a militia, violent extremist. If you have the Boogaloo flag, and you say Boogaloo.
Oh crap!
If you have the black and yellow flag, which is anarcho-capitalist, for there
Don't
you
know
go.
that one.
It's like anarcho-capitalist or like anarcho-communist, but right.
Yeah, I got it. I've heard of them. I've never seen the flag.
Stambo. STAM as in Mary, B as in boy, O as in Oscar. Or if you have the Punisher flag, the Punisher logo, you are a violent right-wing extremist. Yeah, I tried control and scroll up. It just didn't work.
Dude,
this is the biggest.
Copy, paste, and then open it in preview.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna have to, if I do that, I'm gonna
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
have
it's
to
a whole mess.
watch. If I go to preview, right, and I try to open it up in preview, which I can, but the thing is, Rich, I
Yeah.
don't have permission set yet. Cause I just reloaded
Oh,
my whole entire
frick. Oh,
operating
forget
system.
it.
But therefore, I would have to basically leave and come back because of reasons.
So I'm looking on my slow as molasses computer here. Okay, it's just coming up.
So
Now, what about the "Don't Tread on Me"? It commonly referencing
they have the
historical
warrior
imagery
culture.
books.
The warrior culture, which is the the little helmet from the
The
Roman
Greek or
Empire,
whatever. Yeah.
the Greek
Spartans. It says Spartans in Valhalla.
Yeah, if you have a black flag, you're a militia violent extremist. If you have 2A anywhere, it says MVEs, militia violent extremists, justify their existence with the Second Amendment due to the mention of a well-regulated militia, as well as the right to bear arms. So 2A.
Wow. You jumped over the Moulin Lob.
No, that's next. I'm going. Yeah,
Well, you said black flag first.
Come and take it.
Wow.
Come and take it. I actually have.
The cannon.
I actually have like most of these flags like 5 feet away from me. Rich will testify to that. The electrical resistance symbol, because it shows resistance.
All right. I've got stuff I've soldered in space. I do not recognize that as the electrical resistance symbol. But, all right.
The Gadsden flag.
That I'm pretty sure I got one of those.
Mm-hmm. The quote from the Liberty Tree.
Mm-hmm.
The Revolutionary War imagery, which is actually on the VCDL logo. In the GOA logo has the Minuteman.
Oh, Betsy Ross flag, not the regular 50.
The Betsy Ross flag.
Well, the 50-star flag will be next.
And so right there.
That's the addendum.
That shows.
Like, now, if you cover your heart and stand when there's a Pledge of Allegiance, are you an MVE? Let's see. Am I saying that right? MVE. Militia Violent Extremists. Well, guys, I just want to let you know I'm happy to be a new member of the club and glad to know that you're all members of the club also.
And let me open up this one. This is the second one here.
There's more?
Yeah.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there is more reasons why you are an extremist.
So this looks like a pretty nicely printed document. So they mail this out to all their card-carrying FBI
field
members?
offices?
It goes to all law enforcement.
Unclassified law enforcement
all
sensitive.
Law enforcement at ATF. So if you're a 3%er, 3per, whatever, you are a MVE.
Unreal.
American Contingency. I've never heard of them before.
So
you are MVE. Lightfoot Militia.
What do they say if you got a pocket constitution actually read it? I mean, I'm getting some chills here.
I don't know. An oath keeper.
Well, that makes sense for the ones who are not oath keepers who are violating that on a regular basis. So that makes perfect sense there.
And if you talk about Ruby Ridge or Waco.
Things that strike nerves.
A bunch of different videos.
Can we let the FBI know that the ATF in their lobby has a model of the Ruby Ridge? Maybe that's bad also.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, yeah. So therefore, and if you go to Stambo2A on Twitter, I will go ahead and I will put it. That's Steven Stambo, the machine gun. Have you worked with Steven yet, Paul?
No, I have not.
He's he is one of GOA's top attorneys.
Really?
So I'm dropping the link.
Oh, I did too.
Oh, okay, so
I
now there's lots of links. Well, I dropped the link to the actual post. You dropped the link to the account.
Okay, the thing is, he only has 79 followers on Twitter. So follow the dude. I'm gonna see if we can get him up over 100 followers by the end of
that should be easy.
The stream, yeah. But so yeah, Stambo2A, go ahead and give him a follow. But that is the FBI. That is what they are sending out to FBI agents across the country. And with that, I just wanted to get that out there. So everyone who watches my show is probably an extremist. And thank you for being an extremist, because I love you all for being an extremist. With that, we're going to break off from my live channel. And if you guys want to go ahead and continue watching, you can definitely do that by going to John Crump live on YouTube, and you can watch from there or not, whatever you guys want to do. It's fine with me. All right, guys. And with that, we are done for. I'm gonna end the stream on John Crump News once I figure out how to do it.
Yep.
There is a
so Paul, not what you expected, huh?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's nice to know that I'm part of a club that I'm not actually paying dues to, but whatever.
Right.
I know.
Wow.
Man. You know what? I think I want to become. But no, I'm not going to say it. I was about to say I want to become an extremist.
I honestly can't. I can't wait to read all the fine print. I mean, I'm like, this is like a joke. This is like a meme. And I'm thinking to myself, how removed are these guys to think that you would take people who are wearing the Punisher logo seriously, like being legitimate extremists?
Yeah, I kind of look at that and say, like, oh, hey, he's cosplaying.
Right.
I'm about to end on live. If you want to, you're going to be automatically redirected if you go over to the live. But yeah, so I'm going to end this over here, and like within a minute, you'll be redirected to John Crump Live if you want to continue watching. If not, I will see you guys probably tomorrow sometime. And John Crump Live is over, and we're still up in darks and everything else like that. So, Paul, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Wow.
Doing freaking great, man.
I mean, I wasn't expecting to be on a list this quick. I've not done anything.
I was on your show. You're on the list.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's just the way it is. If I'm on your show.
Well, my hunch is that I was already on a list, but didn't know I was on the list. Now I know I'm on a list.
Dark, we are still broadcasting to your channel. If you want to stop it, go right ahead, or you can just let it roll.
It's amazing to me that the number of times somebody like any one of us and any one of you guys in the audience are called an extremist because we believe what the documents that founded this country say. It should be the other way around.
Yep.
If you visited John Crump's list, you're on you have my page on the list. So tell everyone out there who you are. I'm sure everyone out there already knows who you are because you're famous and stuff, but go ahead and tell them.
I'm definitely not famous, but
yes, you are.
I enjoy the space that we all get a chance to work in because I like the people. Honestly, that's the biggest benefit, I think, in working in these circles. The people are such good folks. But I've been doing this, honestly, a long time, a little over 10 years now. I have a firearms television show on Fox down here in the Texas, Louisiana area. It's more of a regional type show on Sunday mornings. And, of course, all the clips I put out there on YouTube. And now it's got to the point where YouTube has consumed so much as far as being timely, where so many people who follow yourself and me, they go to YouTube now for their interesting how
it flipped.
Yeah, the way people consume their information has really changed over the last few years. They would consume their content somewhere else in the quote news areas, and then follow back up for more information online. Now it's just the opposite. I feel like that,
correct.
They may validate it on a Fox News, or they may validate it on a whatever, one of the other networks, but they get it originally where we're at right now. And it's so interesting to see that. I mean, just that whole evolution has blown my mind, how that came about. And it's good for us. I mean, especially those of us who have tried to do the right thing throughout all of this, that evolution of that, because I feel like we kept credibility along the way. And now it's paid off for us because people come to us for that information, just like, you, John. I mean, people are coming to you for info. So I think that's good for all of us. And of course, I do a whole lot of other things. I mean, as you know, I don't know if I sent you guys copies of my book. This has been probably the biggest delight of my life over the last, actually, it'll be this month is a year that I released the book. And that's been one of the coolest things I've done ever. Because I've been exposed to so many different people who picked that book up. I'm not talking about like known people. I mean, average everyday people who have gotten that book and reached out to me and told me how it affected them, how they've turned it over to their, teenage child to read. Hey, you need to read this also, because there's some life lessons and stuff like that in there. It's not just a gun related book. So that's been a big eye-opening thing for me.
Yeah. That's really cool. I have one book out. I'm working on another book. That's once I'm finishing up something, then I got to rate this other book, get that done, and then I'm gonna go back to my pilot's lessons, I guess I can say.
Okay. Yeah, the book.
We got to race you to the air, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not very refreshing. I just saw a video of some person. I'm sure you guys have seen it, fighting with their parachute to try to open as they fell to the ground, to the earth, and they were able to deploy their secondary chute looked like 100 feet above the ground to me.
Well,
it was really close.
And again, I've got precisely 2 jumps under my belt, static line, and he messed with that primary chute way too long. I would have jettisoned that and got my backup chute out.
Wasn't that incredible? That's one of the most incredible. And the fact that this guy was still thinking, though, kind of blew my mind. I was like, I probably would have been screaming and balled up in a little fetal position. It felt like a rock.
Yeah. Well, there's a few times in your life where you're the only one that's going to save yourself.
Yeah.
And,
that was it.
Jumping out of an airplane is a big one. It's all you.
Yeah. Yeah. You can look around all you want. There's nobody else to blame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of insane. I mean that is really insane. I mean, I would have, I don't know what to say, man. I would have just, I don't know. I wanted to go skydiving so bad, but then I got married, and my wife's like, "You got to stop this dangerous."
Yeah, I did it in my 20s. I haven't done it since, but.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, just I gotta work in. All right, I'm reinstalling everything as we go along. Yeah, skydiving is really scary. So, how'd you get in with the YouTube stuff?
I actually had, before I started the Second Amendment channel in 8. I actually started a YouTube channel. I had it wasn't on Fox. It was just a regular, I guess, cable access. I had a,
like Wayne's World.
No, it was like that channel, but it was a conservative talk show, and basically I just covered all political events. Now those events happen to include a whole lot of firearm stuff too. So I noticed that as I would upload videos, because I would film the show and then upload segments of it, and the show was popular, but I couldn't make any money off of it, because in the conservative bubble, it's kind of unlike the gun bubble. It's very polarizing, and I had attorneys who were helping me pay for the show, but didn't want anybody to know they were helping me pay for it. They wanted to help underwrite it, but they didn't want to risk alienating some of their clientele. So it was kind of cool because I could keep doing it, but I was like, I couldn't even say who was paying the bills for it. And I'd noticed that every time I would upload videos that were firearm related, like Second Amendment related topics, those videos were way more popular than just, that was back when Barack Obama was president. So when I would just talk about one of his trips or whatever, or one of his many screw ups, including stuff about Biden, it would always, they had the same amount of traction, but it wasn't anything major. So I ended up spinning off and creating Legally Armed America. I think it was in 2012. And that immediately took off. And I just got to the point where I had to dedicate more time to it. And I just stopped doing my conservative show because couldn't make any money in it. I mean, not that I did it for money, but I knew I'd never make any money doing a conservative show. So that's how I ended up here. But I've been doing video for years. I used to edit safety videos years back when it was the big giant VHSs and you ran them into the TV and just the big clunky stuff, and you cross your fingers and hope that your hard drive didn't crash while you were processing and rendering. And I've been doing video for a long time. I enjoy video. I really like the editing side of video. I actually get a kick out of that. Oh yeah, I do.
Huh.
Right,
well, digital, yeah, but oh my God, when it was, VHS editing, no.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, we have a question here. How did you come about writing a book? Are you a journalist?
No, I'm actually not. Now, I will say this.
Background.
I've always been an English nerd. I was one of the few people in school that actually liked English. I liked conjugating verbs. I liked writing essays. I liked doing all the stupid stuff that none of my friends ever liked. So I've always kind of liked it. I could construct sentences and do things like that. Whenever I graduated, I actually went and worked in contracts. That's how I can decipher a lot of the BS language that our bills have in them, because I worked in contracts. So I'm used to that type of wording. And it just got to a point where since I already like to write, I did a video. My book is actually about the commonalities of rampage killers, school shooters, mass shooters, whatever you want to call them. And I did a video back in 2017, back when the Parkland shooting took place. Because I remember thinking, and this is probably a reflection on all of us in the gun community, we do care about people. We just happen to care about the Second Amendment, all of our constitutional rights also. But there's this weird perception that it's a zero-sum game. Either you are for the Second Amendment or you care for babies. And it's the stupidest argument I've ever heard in my life. And I remember thinking back then, just kind of perplexed, like, man, 17 people have, been shot and murdered. What's going on? And I mean, obviously I'm way past the gun thing. I mean, we're all smart enough to know that that's not the cause, but I'm like, right. Why does this happen? And it always seems like he was on our radar, or, he fell through the cracks. And it's always a really weird, similar backstory. And I was like, man, I keep hearing the same thing over and over again. So I did a little bit of, I guess you could say, bootleg research at a very, very high level to try to find those commonalities. And I found the 3 commonalities that I wrote the book on back then. And I did a quick video on it. And after I did the video, got a lot of feedback from a lot of people who watched it, because it was a totally different angle from a lot of my videos at the time. And it still perplexed me. So, man, I started buying research books. I don't have a medical background. I bought medical books. I bought the DSA-5 book, the psychological book that's this thick. I bought medical books, not medical books, pharmaceutical books. I have books on every single type of medication that's ever been developed, what its intended purposes are, what its side effects are, what its black box warnings or FDA-related warnings, everything. And I just started reading. And it took me about 2.5 years of reading. And it was in 3 or 4 different areas that I had to read to pull all that together. And of course, you guys, no surprise to you, it's really hard to get any negative information that has anything to do with pharmaceutical companies. They just drive so much in the world and how things go. Nobody's very forthcoming about that. And I just essentially did enough research. And finally, it's so funny that April of last year, I had done all the research by then. And I was finally like, man, if I don't write this book, I will never write it. I am a procrastinator. I mean, by fault, I am. And I was just like, I'm going to write this. I'm writing it. This is the year I'm writing it. It might suck, but I'm going to write it. And from April until August, everything I did, I linked my iPad, all of my Mac computers, my iPhone, everything. I linked it to a program to where wherever I was, I could work on it. I could edit. I could do whatever. And the hardest thing for me was breaking up how chapters needed to be and making it flow. And I still find it kind of hard sometimes to read because you have to establish so much. It's almost like a resource book at the beginning of the book. Or research book. And it's like I put so much information at the beginning of the book. I felt like somebody would open it up and think that it was boring because the really good stuff comes after all of that. Like you kind of have to establish things. Like we're all not psychologists. And I know that.
Sure.
And I know that most people in my circles are not. So I kind of had to establish how the mind works, how dopamine and serotonin works in the brain. You know, what drugs have these types of warnings, what those warnings mean. And you'd be surprised how many of these drugs do have the black box warnings that say, oh, guess what? They create mania, suicidal thoughts, homicidal thoughts. And you're like, well, duh, you know, they're all right in your face here. And again, I'm not blaming just drugs. It's a number of things. And anyway, that's just, I know I'm not a journalist to whoever your viewer was. Again, I can read and I can write. And I feel like I have at least an average level of intelligence where I could put all that stuff together.
All right. What type of mixer do you have?
That is a Zoom brand mixer, and it's kind of covered up right here. This thing is awesome. P8, like letter P for Paul, then 8.
Yeah.
What's cool about it? This is a Bluetooth thing that talks directly to my phone, so I can actually do a audio podcast with you guys, call you on the phone, and plug you straight into that without pushing any buttons or anything. It's really neat. This is a really pre-recorded, sounds and stuff on here. It's really neat.
Yeah. I use a Rodecaster Pro 2.
Same concept.
I just sent my old Rodecaster Pro to Rich.
Yeah, same concept. They do basically the same type of stuff.
One of the really interesting things about the Rodecaster Pro 2, this is going to get way into the weeds, but it's Wi-Fi enabled. So you can actually connect to like multiple computers through Wi-Fi, and you have 2 USB in, so you can connect like a bunch of computers together.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And run it through it, which I think is amazing.
This thing is neat. I haven't used it to its full potential, but I've done a lot of pretty cool stuff with it, and I'm just a big fan with it. And it's literally, that's what's processing my sound to you guys. That's why the sound probably is somewhat quality, because that's how I mix it all and process it.
Paul, John got you off track a little bit. You're talking about the book. You said there were like 3 things that you found in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to hear about
what
that.
They are.
Yes.
I put them kind of in order because it was important that you understood that they affect one another kind of in that order. And what I did was that the first one that kind of, I guess the first domino that falls over is a broken home. More specifically, but not all inclusive, a fatherless home. And I say that because a broken home can lack a mom. The child it can actually have both parents in it. You guys know as well as I do. Sometimes can I say 4-letter words on your channel, John?
Sure.
Okay. If you have a really shitty dad, it doesn't really matter that he's around, right? So I consider that kind of a fatherless home, even though the dad is there. Maybe that both parents are there and the child is mentally, sexually, physically abused. That's a broken home. All these things basically lend itself to kind of betraying the child, where it puts the child mentally in a place that he shouldn't be. And I think that makes sense. Now, I will say this, the overwhelming factor as far as the commonality that a lot of these rampage killers have is a fatherless home. Almost all of them. And I say almost. There is 1 or 2 examples. I want to say Cho in the Virginia Tech shooting. He grew up in a Korean home with both parents, but it was a forced marriage, and his dad didn't care for him because in the Korean their type of culture, the male is like the really, really dominant part of the family. And because Cho was kind of mute and didn't speak very, you couldn't really understand him. He was very, very shy, and his dad kind of looked down on that because he knew that his son was not going to be the breadwinner, so to speak. So in the Korean culture, his dad he was an embarrassment to his dad. And I mean, of course, in Asian cultures, that the whole honor thing is very big. You know, it may not matter to kids here in the States, but in their culture, it did. So anyway, broken homes was the first one. The second one was bullying. And I mean, I don't say that one lightly. A lot of these kids that are abused at home, or they're in a broken home, well, they go to school. Well, they have a standoffish demeanor to them. They just do. I mean, it's not like I'm dreaming this up. I know children who were like that growing up. And now when you look back on it, I realize, well, they were from a broken home. They were either abused or they grew up in a single parent home. So a lot of that has to do with that. And then the whole, I really go in depth into the bullying portion of this. And it really goes into the almost the let us raise our boys to be men kind of thing. Because the whole zero tolerance thing, I have always had a problem with that. You know, the fact that
absolutely,
if John comes up to me and starts bullying me in the bathroom and nobody else sees it, and he's bullying me and making me feel less of myself, I should be able to punch John in the throat because John's the one that started it. You know what I mean?
Why are you going to punch me in the throat, man?
Well, Rich, I'll punch Rich in the throat.
Okay,
you can bully me, but I'll punch Rich.
Right, right.
I mean, you guys understand what I'm saying. The whole thing that you take that away from that child to be able to defend himself, you just made it worse. Not only did you made that bully, you emboldened him because he knows he's not going to get in trouble. He knows that if I report him that he bullied me, well, or if I hit him, then we're both going to get suspended. But if I report him, I make it worse when I'm walking home or riding the bus or something like that. You know what I mean? So I really go in depth into the whole bullying section of it. It's not just like, oh, bullying's bad. I mean, I really talk about it. I talk about how adults assist in bullying. I've witnessed teachers either look the other way when kids were being bullied in school or actually participate in it. And I think that's sad that, you know, we have that kind of dynamic that still exists to this day. And then, of course, the third thing was over-medicating our youth. Now, it's important that I say not medicating our youth. A lot of people
medicating, there's a big difference.
Yes, there's a humongous difference. My son takes medication. I'm not implying that all medicines are bad. Now, any medicine taken the wrong way is bad, or any medicine abused is bad. And when you read the section that I have on medication, it will blow your mind. And just as a side note, I want to mention this to anybody that's watching your stuff. I literally have 254 footnotes in here. So I want to make it very clear that this is not a book about my opinion. I researched everything and I included every single data point that I talked about in this book. I put in here so anyone can research it. So no one can say Paul's full of crap, Paul's making that up, Paul's embellishing. I'm not. I actually research everything here. And if you want to prove me wrong, which to date nobody has, you can go and check my research and follow up on it and tell me that I'm wrong and where I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very important. I haven't read your book, but I definitely want to read it. It's available on Amazon, right?
It is. You're better off getting it directly from my website, howtomakeamonster.com, because I think you save $1 or something like that there. With Amazon, you know, they got to get their cut. You know what I mean? So whenever you get it from Amazon, I think the price is $1 or $2 higher. So you're getting the same book. In fact, if you get it through my website, there's not this feature on Amazon. I sign every book. I have autographed every single book that I've sent out. And if you get through my website, there's actually a feature you can check and it will open up a text box and you can actually tell me what you want me to sign inside the book cover. So
you know, most people, I got a lot of signed books. They just sign their name. They don't sign, you know, like too rich, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Hey, Rich, remind me to tell you something later.
Uh-oh. Wait, you know how Crump signed his book to me?
How's that?
I think it says "fuck you."
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
Personal. It's personal then.
Yeah, it's personal.
Yeah, well, Rich kept on bugging me for a signed book. I'm like, why do you want a signed book? You know me, man.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
It's like I like to collect signed books, you know.
So I signed it. Absolutely signed it. So yeah, so I gave Rich the signed book, and it was basically just throwing shade. But no, Rich is a cool guy. Like you're my best friend, man. Why would I sign you a book?
Right.
So yeah, being, whatever. I just thought it was funny. Yeah, yeah. So you do a YouTube channel, you have a local TV show, you're a writer, and now you taking up another mission. Tell everyone about that.
Oh, which one?
Yeah.
You're
Everybody
talking about the
gets
new
to know.
videos that I'm putting out? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Oh, oh, the GOA. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess as of January, I was the state director for the state of Louisiana. Now, I don't really call it that because I call myself like a pseudo director because my good friend Josh Barnhill was
Josh is a great
actually,
guy.
yeah, Josh is good people. I've known Josh for years. He and I have been friends through the gun community. In fact, he's the one that asked me if I would, assume his role as state director because he was backing off doing something or going to do something else. And what it all boiled down to is Josh was not going to have the time to devote the amount of time that he thought he needed. Plus, Josh, kind of like yourself, John, you and I have that online reach, and Josh didn't have that. And Josh felt like that was holding him back from being a good director, which I disagree with, because I would take a lot of what Josh would do and I would just forward it. I would just make it, my role to, he and I have, I guess you could say, technically partnered in this role for a year.
Yeah.
And finally, when he decided to do that, I asked him, I said, look, I don't think GOA has any real strict policies on this. I said, I don't mind if we're considered co-directors. I'm not that kind of person. I could care less about a title. I feel like if we're both working towards the same thing, that's important to all of us. And he has happily stayed on board and stayed engaged. And that's the greatest thing in the world because Josh is so good about some things that he can sit at his computer and do while I'm off doing something else. And then I kind of get the word out and go do a whole lot of the other stuff. And it's really, I think it's helped us out. I think it helped GOA out a lot, but it's helped Josh and I out also because we actually have more times to devote to the things that we're better at, and
Yeah.
of course, him being an attorney, that helps also. You know what I mean? I mean, he's I can read legal speak, but he speaks legal speak.
Yeah. I'm doing something new for GOA, and I've actually transitioned roles several times at GOA. And I was a state director, then I developed and I can't say yet because it's not out yet. Did some internal stuff to help rebuild some stuff. And then now I'm doing something totally different where I do a lot of stuff on the national level and stuff like that. And a lot of I'll say it. I do a lot of research for GOA on different things. FOIAs, stuff like that. Work a lot with Stimbolier and Olson and those guys. Then I work with Aiden up at the Capitol, and then I'm just all over the place.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, I think we all get a whole lot. Not even GOA related. I think just in the gun community, we get a lot of value out of a lot of the stuff that you do. I told you the other day. I mean, I followed you drop an article on Ammo Land. I've known Freddie and those guys for years. So, that's how I knew who you were, was through your articles, because I could distinctly tell this is a better article or it's better researched. I mean, it's one thing to put an article out saying, oh, this is what happened. And then there's another one whenever you're like, somebody puts something out and there's a link, because I'm a link chaser. If you leave a link in a story, I'm going down that rabbit hole. I want to see, if you're referencing this, you're referencing it for a reason. There's probably some really good stuff under that link.
Well, that's why I always list my sources and everything. I always link to my sources and link to whatever I can. And I also post the documents when I can. Sometimes I can't to protect sources, but if I can post those documents, I will post those documents so people will go down those rabbit holes. And we discussed this before, where I think you've asked me why I do that, and I said because if in case I miss something, I want it to be out there so someone else might say, "Hey, you missed this."
Yep.
And then I don't care about someone taking my work and expanding on it or whatnot. I'm not really protective. I'm not a gatekeeper, and I think there's too many gatekeepers.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I think the folks who do what we do in this space, who are good at it and fair about it, and not the same way, they're not egotistical about it, they'll typically give these people credit for it. Like I've given you credit in many of my videos, where I got the information from, because I'm the same way. you'd be surprised, and you may get it the same way. If I open up my phone at 5 o'clock in the morning, there's a slew of people who have sent me things. These are just people who watch my videos. So if they're watching your stuff and all these other people who might be really good investigative journalists, they may send me something that I may not find for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, but it's sitting in my inbox. So it's very valuable that we send people to watch everybody, not just me. I'm not one of these kind of people that hopes they just watch my videos. That's stupid. I want them to get information from somewhere else. Hey, did you hear about this? You know, sometimes we have, but other times we're like, oh, no, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. And a lot of people that submit stuff, I'll give them credit, but a lot of people are like, no, I have to stay anonymous for job reasons and whatnot. And then I can go and do that by just, releasing the documents because they can't for some reason.
Right.
Or they're not allowed, or they're actually working for the ATF.
Sure.
And they had the documents and they looked at it and they're like, hey, I don't think this is right. The ATF is bad. There are some good people at the ATF though. There's some work that needs to be done. I don't think it necessarily needs to be done from the ATF, but there's some work like bomb experts, for example, that can go in there and look at a bomb and determine where the bomb came from. I mean, but I think the FBI should be handling that, not the ATF. But those guys, they get a lot of the information and they just pass it along because they're like, I'm not. I don't believe in 99.9% of what the ATF does, but I examine bomb fragments to determine where there was purchased at.
Right.
And so here's some information about them trying to infringe on your rights.
Right. Yeah, been a lot of that going on lately.
Yeah. But there is some people out there, I'm not going to name any of them, that have read my articles verbatim and claimed it was theirs.
Nice. Gosh.
And they might.
Was that you, Rich?
Rich? No.
Yeah, it actually was.
They might talk a lot about, talk about honesty and everything else like that, and they're like, oh, my source has given me this and this is what I think about it. And I read it word for word. It really pissed me off, and I reached out to the guy and he never responded. So
well, that kind of person is never going to admit where they got it from.
Yeah.
And sometimes, if we forget, putting the video together, I'll also include the link in the description. I'm like, oh crap, I didn't. So I try my best to be as forthcoming as I can, especially on a lot of the information.
But there's a difference between forgetting and putting a link in the description.
No, I know. No, you're right.
This is my source, and read verbatim.
Right.
Word
your
for
words.
Word in the article. And it's like, you didn't say that.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that you knew who I was.
Yeah, man. Well, me being, again, a writing geek, I mean, you write well. I mean, I watch people who are pretty good at, the wordsmithing game. And there's about 4 or 5 of you guys out there that I follow. Because, look, there's nothing harder to read than a good story that's shittily written. I mean, you're like, I really want to read this, but God, I'm struggling with this. And you go read it over again because the sentence structure it's right, but it could have been done righter. If you know what I mean, you're like, come on, man, this is painful to read, And I mean, again, I know I'm splitting hairs because I like English and all that, but I mean, you're a good writer. There's a couple other guys. I'm not gonna say their names because I don't know if they're competing with you or whatever. But they,
dude, I don't care. You can say their names.
No, I'm not gonna say their names, but they're good. There's a lot of good 2A writers out there in that space. That's for sure.
Yeah, one thing you notice about the 2A writing space, it is, I mean, I don't know what it is. I do the writing stuff and I do the YouTube stuff now. I came from the writing world. Writers tend to be a lot friendlier with each other, and it's not as cutthroat as the YouTube community. Not sure why.
Oh yeah, I guess YouTube, because you get the analytics all the time. It's
Yeah.
easier to be cutthroat.
I wish there was a way. Of course, they'd have to believe it, and I guess I'm not at that point now. But when I first started doing videos, especially in the 2A community. I immediately noticed people who wouldn't give me the time of day, and it was so frustrating because I'm thinking, I understand how the internet works, and surely you do too, because you've been doing this longer than me. I'm talking about other people. And I'm like, do you think that if somebody watches my video that they stopped watching yours? That's not how this works. And we all, and again, like we were talking about earlier with Rich, I mean, we all consume our content differently now than we did 5-10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like when a new show came on TV, you said, well, I can't watch that one anymore because this is the one I'm going to watch now. It's not how it works. And I think, most people, I watch YouTube TV in my house. That's what I stream into my house.
Yep.
I don't watch regular television anymore. And it's
Same
now,
here.
maybe, I think more people have gotten to where I'm talking about other content creators. I think they might be a little bit more welcoming to other people in this space. And maybe it's just because I've developed a bit of a following over the years. But man, there was a time I would see people at SHOT Show or whatever, and I had been doing it for a few years. I'm talking, hey man, I'm so-and-so, and it wasn't fanboying out because I'm not comfortable doing that. But it'd be like, in fact, I would purposely catch them off to the side, like walking between the booths to not embarrass them because I'm not good at being approached at all. So I knew it's kind of embarrassing me and people recognize me. So I would purposely pull these people, hey man, just want to I'd start walking behind them as they were going to another booth. Just want to let you know, I enjoy your videos, blah, blah, blah. And they just kind of look at me and kind of like, who the fuck are you? That kind of thing. And I just remember thinking a couple times like, bro, really?
Yeah. When I started YouTube, Hank Strange really pushed me to start YouTube, actually. But when I started YouTube, I mean, no one was really like mean to me or standoffish, mostly because they wanted information. What I found is you have some people that are bigger and they look down the nose at you, and then you have other people that are like all helpful, and then they're all friendly, and then if you pass them, then they get all like what would you call it? Butthurt, Rich?
Yeah, I would say that.
You've seen that?
Yeah.
It's like we're, like you said earlier, zero-sum game. I don't believe it's a zero-sum game. I believe, I learned this 20 years ago from a manager. He said, my job is to promote all of you above me. I'll say that again because I kind of mumbled. Promote everybody that's my, report that reports to me. Give you the tools and the skills so that you can surpass me. And I think that's a great way to be.
Yes. Because it does make that person better. Because then they're looked at as being a good manager of people because you just develop the next manager. Companies don't look down on that. I mean, I worked for a Fortune 500 company, and that was literally in my annual review. Had I developed anybody, Wow. I mean, essentially, I was expected to find the next person to take my job, because they wanted, that would be a result of me growing enough within the company to where I was going to be promoted somewhere else. So I was always expected to train my replacement. And I thought that was a great approach because instead of constantly shoving that next guy down, you're trying to bring them up.
Yeah, when I worked for a Fortune 3 company, it was the same way.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the way it should be. Companies that
Meta, Facebook.
Oh, was that who? Oh, gosh.
Actually, I ran into a bunch of my old Facebook colleagues on Sunday.
Really?
They're still over at Meta.
Y'all still have a lot in common now.
Yeah, you would be surprised how many gun people are actually at Facebook.
Really, that does shock me.
Yeah. They're funny. They were telling me that they're not allowed to say Facebook; they have to say Meta. It's like they're like, no, you have to say Meta.
Well, clearly none of them are managing or looking over my page because I think out of 20-something thousand people who supposedly follow my Facebook page, I think I interact with 2. So I mean, no one sees that page.
There was a secret Facebook gun group, and I think the New York Times reported on it, and they did a screenshot, and you can see
Oh gosh.
Right there, you can see me in the
Nice.
screenshot.
Nice.
I still don't know who. I still don't know who is, who leaked that stuff. But it was like a conservative libertarian gun group, and free speech and guns, and I don't think they liked it very much.
That's funny.
So then, like all these other Facebook people wanted to shut it down.
Oh, can I tell your viewers about a new fun project that I'm working on?
You can tell the viewers about anything, man. Go ahead.
This is one of the most fun things that I've worked on in a long time. It's a friend of mine. I own a retail store and a construction company down here. And a good friend of mine that I've known for many years is actually purchasing it from me. So I'll be transitioning from that business to strictly doing all gun related stuff, probably within the next 6 months. This guy's a good friend of mine. He and I have been in a process, I'm training him. That's part of our contract where I offer X amount of training, consulting, stuff like that. Well, the construction portion of my business is custom swimming pool building design, all that kind of stuff. And our area is predominantly petrochemical down here on the Gulf Coast. So there's a lot of oil money down here. So people have a lot of expendable cash. So we build a lot of really nice high-end swimming pools. Well, that puts us in a lot of really nice neighborhoods, which means we deal with HOAs, homeowners associations. And how no one has ever come up with this idea, I'll never know. But we created what we've already called, and we've got 5 videos out already, real short videos. And we created basically some really gung-ho guys, and we call it HOA PD. And it is freaking a blast to put these videos together. They're like 1.5 and 2-minute videos. And it's the most off the wall, over the top BS of 2 guys who really take their job way too serious. So the first 5 videos have pretty much been us establishing our characters as the dorks that they are. And we're just now doing the homeowners association compliance type stuff where, we got just a laundry list of things that will be harassing people in this neighborhood. Now, it's not pranking them. Everything will be acted out. So it's not like we're going to be just popping up on people. It'll be people we know, because we know tons of people in the neighborhood. I don't live in that neighborhood, but it's a neighborhood blocks from my house. And they're really bad. I mean, it's really bad. They used to call the guy driving around the little Nazi because, he would tell you that you can't put a security camera on the eave of your house. And if, you have to be approved by the HOA, it has to be painted the same color as your eave and all that kind of goofy stuff. And we have just had an absolute blast with it. I'll send you guys the link. It's some kind of silly, dark humor, but my wife doesn't think it's funny at all. My wife is one of those kind of people like, nobody's going to think that's funny. I'm like, no. People will think it's funny. It's good. And I'll say this, the neighborhood is called Graywood, is the big neighborhood here. So just to be real obvious of who we're talking about it, we actually named the neighborhood that in our fictitious neighborhood is called Dickwood. And we've even got a logo for it. And let me tell you something. This is the funniest thing. We're actually already selling T-shirts for Dickwood subdivision, and there is no such thing. Look, this is the logo.
Oh, nice.
See how it's got an eggplant with the veins on it. Dude, we are having such a blast with this. It is so funny. And it's just, it's like a pet project of ours. And like I mentioned earlier, how I like to edit. If you go watch the videos, I edit the hell out of them. I have sound effects. I have background music. It is so funny. So anyway, that's my newest side project. Like I needed another project, but that's one that I can do late at night. Like we'll go get all the B-roll and all the clips and stuff like that. And I'll take them all in here in my studio. And after I do everything else that night and put my son to bed, I'll come in here and it'd take me an hour and I'm done with one of the episodes.
Yeah.
So,
that's cool.
I told my wife, I'm going to start a new thing. I'm going to go back to law school. And my wife is like, no.
Right.
Like, when are you gonna have time? I'm like, I'll make time. She's like,
that's right.
Dude, almost all school, college level classes are offline right now.
Right.
There's no you know, you got to be in class, you know, lecture this time.
Yeah.
There's no reason to be in a college town anymore.
It's funny you say that. My wife's an engineer, and she graduated from college probably 97, something like that, I believe, 96, 97. And her class, she was the president of the Engineering Society at McNeese State University. And she was the last class where they actually had to memorize all of the engineering formulas. And now they're all in their phones and all that. And she's like, doctors and engineers of today versus back then, she said, I don't know if I would trust them. They don't know the stuff that we knew back then. And doctors too. I mean, and to your point, Rich, I mean, so much of the stuff is online, especially in the medical field. A lot of that is still online. They'll do labs online. I'm like, how the hell do you do a lab online? I know how you
I don't get that.
You know, but I mean, think about it. I mean, doctors.
I'll tell you what I regret is I had like this chemistry cookbook, or not cookbook. I'm sorry, this chemistry book. It was a college level book, and
that put you on a list.
But it had everything in it, and I'm like, I haven't looked at it since high school or college, and I tossed it. And I'm like, look, the power goes out. You know, all of the great things you can get online.
Yeah.
You know, like I have an encyclopedia, but I don't have it here. I want an encyclopedia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you have any survival books and they're ebooks, you're missing the point.
Yeah, right. That's true, right?
Like Clint Emerson sent me a book that's really good. I can't remember what it's called now, but Clint Emerson's a good guy. And then I have the SAS survival book, both in like paperback. If you don't have the SAS survival book, then you know, there's no better feeling to walk in. We got a Barnes and Noble around here, which is probably one of the last ones in the country.
No, we got one.
It's always packed to the hill with people. And the lines are always really long. I don't know if people are nostalgic or what, but I love the smell of going in there. Just the smell of paper, the smell of a library. I don't know, probably crazy, but you know, maybe it's the writer in me.
No, I still like to actually have a physical book in my hand. And I'll be honest with you too. This is kind of like, it's so funny to say this, but I've got to give you a general idea. I'm sure some of John Crump's stuff is in here. I still print everything out.
Oh, really?
That insurance commercial that says don't print the internet. I'm the guy that prints the internet. I can't read, and I have one of those like mega iPads, like the really super pro big iPads, and I just still find myself reading, and I want to make notes on the page. I want to highlight. I'm like,
oh, okay, all right,
I'll hit
that
print,
makes sense.
And I start drawing because I'm really bad. I mean, everything that especially if I'm going to do a video on something, I'll highlight what I want to talk about and things like that. So, but I've printed the internet out pretty much.
I got one of the huge Samsung tablets, and it's funny how I got it. I had one of like the smallest Samsung tablets, and it broke, and they, and sent it back in. It was like an A5, whatever. It's like a little 7-inch tablet. And I guess they didn't have any more because they stopped making them. So they just grabbed a like one of the Samsung Galaxy like S7 Pro, which is like a 12.5-inch tablet.
Nice.
So I went from this little like 7-inch tablet. I opened it up. I was like, "What the hell is this?" And it was like, we had no more, so we gave you a free upgrade to like the top of the line tablet. I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Darn.
My wife was like, "Yeah, good thing it broke." I was like, "Hell yeah!" I was like, "Let's go break yours." She's like, "No." Yeah.
Okay, this is disturbing to me. I seen this about 3 hours ago. HR 8051, 1,000% tax on all firearms and magazines, military arms channels. Today's short post.
It's not going to pass.
So is that moving? Because they put that out a month or so ago.
They put it out every so often, then it fails, then they reintroduce it, then it fails, then it reintroduces, then it fails. It is more of a virtue signal than anything else.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we've been on for over an hour now, so we're gonna start wrapping this up. You can follow me at johncrump.locals.com. I relaunched my Patreon because people kept on bugging me to do that. So now you can go to Patreon too, or Locals to support me. Whatever you want to do. Just if you want to join the channel, you can do that too. Whatever, I don't care. But you can go there and follow me at Real John Crump and check out John Crump News, which is my news channel on YouTube. You can follow Rich at flyingrich.locals.com or Flying Rich on YouTube, flyingrich_official. And you can even follow him on MySpace. And Paul, I'm not joking. He has a MySpace.
Oh, that was serious. Okay.
No, I'm not joking.
Okay.
Yes, he
Man,
has,
I'm waiting for them to send me my password.
It's coming back, right?
every day he's like, yeah, it's coming back.
I figure I can't get canceled.
Yeah, well, that's true. There's no one to cancel you, right?
No one will see it. You can
Right.
you can put the secret of the universe out there and no one would ever find it.
That's pretty ingenious, actually. That's like your own storage place where you just put whatever you.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty slick.
Like a dead drop, yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Paul, I'm sure everyone out there knows Legally Owned America, but tell everyone where they can find you.
Of course, I have a main website, legallyarmedamerica.com. That's kind of a placeholder that just kind of points you in different directions where to go. But of course, I'm on my second Twitter, so you kind of got to do some digging. I think people still try to follow the old account, but I got kicked off. And I had to get a new iPhone to be able to open one because I think they trace it back to your IP address. And everything I tried, I couldn't get a new one. So I do have a new Twitter. I think it's Paul of Legally Armed America. And then I have a new Instagram because my other one got deleted. And of course, on YouTube, it's Legally Armed America. So easiest way to catch me.
And now you got to give us words of wisdom to end the show with.
Words of wisdom. Don't ever share anything that you get during your live stream, breaking it, because your guests might take it and drop it before you get a chance to. Because when we get off of here, I'm going to take what you just shared with us. And at some point, it'll take me an hour or so because I got to go tend to my son. But yeah, I'm just joking with you, John.
It's already on my news channel.
All right. Damn.
I'm not fast like that.
But I'm just picking on. No, I appreciate that. No words of wisdom. I don't have any. I literally don't have words of wisdom.
When we were looking through some FOIA documents of import documents, and we ran across the Glock carbine, and you see it was Shooting Gallery New England and Rich and I, and you just see them go mute, and you see them with their phones. Like, are you guys filming a video?
Right. That's awesome.
like they're all mute and
breaking news. Glock carbine.
Right. It's funny. Hey, John, if you don't mind, share my number with Rich so I can get a book over to Rich.
Oh, thanks, man.
One?
That's very, no, I didn't go.
John? Okay, John, send me your mailing address as well.
I'll send you one of my books. How about that? We'll trade
Perfect.
books.
Let's do it.
Very cool. Thank you, Paul.
Sure.
All right, guys. We'll be back tomorrow at a special time, hopefully, with Flying Rich. We did the Ask Me Anything with me last night. And
10 p.m.
tomorrow at 10 p.m., we're going to be doing an Ask Me Anything with Rich. And I'll be hosting that. And Rich can answer all your questions.
Yikes. Easy on me.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.